Hi everyone, my name is Thibaut Joltreau. I'm a postdoctoral researcher at Toulouse Business School, and I'm very happy today to present my paper that just got published in Regulation and Governance that's entitled Subsidizing Unprofitable Industries, the Political Determinants of Agro-Industrial Policy in French Overseas Departments. And as the title indicates, the focus of this paper is industrial policies and their determinants, as industrial policies are becoming more and more important for governments and policymakers today to solve the environmental crisis, to address geopolitical tensions. Policymakers are wondering which industries they should strategically fund. And at the same time, what's been puzzling for me is that some industries are being labeled unprofitable in public discourse and in the state discourse. And yet, these industries sometimes continuously receive subsidies, although some reform agendas are emerging. This is why I asked the following question in the paper: why do states persist in subsidizing industries that are deemed unprofitable, even when it contradicts their own policy objectives? In terms of literature, the first literature I've been looking at is the one on regulatory capture. Early research with rational choice approaches have emphasized rent-seeking behaviors and informational asymmetries in to explain regulatory capture phenomena. And on the other hand, cultural and cognitive sociology has complemented these theories by highlighting how shared cognitive frameworks and social networks influence policy decisions. And on the other hand, another important literature to address the question of subsidy capture and the determinants of industrial policies is the one in policy studies. And in policy studies have been exploring the influence of policy coalitions. This has been a key theme in this literature, and how these coalitions influence industrial policy outcomes and any kind of policy outcomes, in fact. However, paradoxically, I found that there has been little dialogue between the cognitive sociology of regulatory capture and the sociology of policy processes in policy studies. And this paper aims to bridge this gap, or at least to open this dialogue, by leveraging shared intermediary concepts from these two sets of literatures. Such intermediary concepts include issue framing and gatekeeping, and this to advance research on subsidy capture and the persistence of industrial policies. So, more specifically, my theoretical contribution in this paper is to adapt the Programmatic Action Framework. That's a theoretical framework that's been recently developed in European policy studies. And I adapt this framework to neocorporatist settings, that is, institutional arrangements where public and private actors are directly involved in the policy process. And I emphasize in the paper three critical aspects: relational phenomena, where that is to say, have a look at how interconnected career paths within powerful public-private alliances and gatekeeping tactics preserve the social positions and political resources of different actors within the policy process. I also look at discursive dynamics, that is, how the construction of legitimization discourses within policy coalitions can influence industrial policy outcomes. And last, I also look at institutional trajectories, institutional dynamics, institutional path dependence, that is, the long-term institutionalization of subsidy systems and industrial policy frameworks. In terms of empirical findings, I have selected a case study in France, more specifically in French overseas departments, 3 islands in particular: Guadeloupe and Martinique in the Caribbean, and Réunion Island in the Indian Ocean. And in these 3 territories, there is the sugarcane agro-industry that produces rum and sugar. And this industry receives a lot of subsidies, but in 2019, President Emmanuel Macron has gone to Réunion Island to announce that subsidies would be reallocated to transform the agriculture of these territories to go towards food autonomy, and basically some of the funding from sugarcane was announced to be relocated in the near future to other crops. But what I actually find, I do some process tracing from 2019 to 2024, is that a powerful tripartite programmatic group, that is a powerful policy coalitions that has comprised agro-industry representatives, bureaucratic elites, and overseas parliamentarians, members of parliaments. This coalition has resisted this newly proposed reform agenda, and this has resulted, in terms of policy outcome, in subsidy recapture. In fact, sugarcane subsidies have remained the same or even have increased on this period, 2019-2024, while no subsidies were reallocated to other crops. So this is a figure I've included in the paper that shows the processes, how actually these subgroups within the coalition have worked politically, discursively, to discredit transformative arguments, and at the relational level as well to deploy sort of gatekeeping of the new policy committees that were created after the new agenda was set by the president. So my empirical contribution in this paper is to move beyond unilateral explanations of subsidy capture, that is, interest groups successfully lobbying governments. And I demonstrate instead that power is distributed within a dominant public-private coalition, and that all actors within this coalition benefit from subsidy recapture. In terms of theoretical innovation, I hope that my work foster a renewed dialogue between the cognitive sociology of regulatory capture, the sociology of policy processes, and institutional political economy. And lastly, in terms of research avenues, this framework, the Programmatic Action Framework in neocorporatist settings, actually, the framework should be applied actually in other institutional contexts to test its generalizability and deepen the dialogue between sociology and political economy to better explain the complex interplay between historical institutions, social identities, and policy processes in shaping industrial outcomes, industrial policies. I thank you very much for watching this video. Please have a look at the full article at the following link, and feel free to reach out for any questions or collaborations. Thank you very much.